Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Sutton United show. A very special one, I have to say. Armin with you from his humble abode in South London. I know there's a lot of different things going on. Yes, I was watching England versus Switzerland, and I did celebrate the Alan Shearer goal like it was a normal goal. But we have something more important here at Sutton United TV to bring you tonight. Obviously, it's pretty much the Jamie Collins show. He is the special guest that has given up his humble time in his busy schedule to join us and talk all things Sutton United and more. We also have his game from the Leeds United FA Cup run, which we're watching tonight, and a compilation of things for him. But we should get the star of the show on first, and hopefully he's as well as you all are, Mr. Jamie Collins. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Yep, very good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure having you on. I'm sure there's an increasing demand for people to hear the voice of a man who's served the club for almost, nearly coming up to 10 years now. After 10 years of serving the club, it's really a happy feeling for a lot of them. But first of all, how is work in the pandemic, and how are the family holding up?
Firstly, the family are doing well, to be fair. I think the children are enjoying it on their computers, and sort of feels like a 6 weeks holiday to them, and the missus is bearing up. Work is quiet. I'm obviously thankful to still be working, but it's very, very quiet on the underground at the minute, so not a lot to do, if I'm honest.
It doesn't surprise me. For those obviously who don't know, Jamie retired, I think, somewhere mid-season last year, and went onto the Docklands Light Railway / London Underground, where he's worked ever since, obviously. But he still works at Sutton, and we'll ask him a bit more about his role later on. But it can be on a normal day, minus what's going on. It can be quite a difficult day normally on the Underground, right?
Yeah, I work at Bank Station, and on a normal rush hour day, it is very, very busy down there. It's probably got 800 people per train coming in every 2-3 minutes, and you're trying to get them out of the station as quick as possible, so it can be a little bit hectic down there sometimes.
Was it challenging balancing a football career with working on the London Underground? Yeah, I think that's the reason really I had to retire. There was no way I could do obviously both the jobs, so luckily for me, Matt asked me to stay on and help out on a Saturday. So every Saturday I'm available. Obviously, I try and get to every game. So that was a bonus, really. It is pretty much a bonus, getting to work on the Underground and playing, let's say, almost professional football. The National League is as good as it gets. So, obviously, while we wait for questions to fire in, everyone's got a chance to ask Jamie what they want tonight. It's not just going to be me. You have this lovely little thing on my right-hand side, which is a live chat. Right there, you can fire any questions you have for the ex-club captain in there, and I'll try my best to get him to answer them in the allotted time that we have. We have a half an hour highlights from the Leeds game, so it's going to be a long show tonight. But first and foremost, Jamie, in terms of the role at the club that you took up after retiring, how have you adapted that to playing? Obviously, you're very used to being on the pitch, being the vocal voice on the grass. But when it comes to being off it and having to deal with almost the same people that you've been playing with, but on a more coaching side, has that been a seamless transformation, or have you had to adapt a few things to it?
If I'm honest, under the old manager, Paul Doswell, and obviously Ian Baird, if I was injured or suspended, they'd always ask me to be on the bench, and they would encourage me to sort of get up and shout stuff out. And under Matt, really, obviously towards the end, I never played as much as I wanted to. I was injured probably for 2-3 months, and he would always want me on the bench as well. So it was sort of coming towards the end of my career, if we say. And to be fair, the boys take on board what I've got to say, and hopefully they listen. But none of them obviously sort of show no disrespect to me, so it was quite easy, to be fair.
Very good. In terms of currently,
while this is all going on, have you been able to keep contact with them in terms of the training regime and making sure they're all fit and anything like that?
Yeah, I'm still on the players' WhatsApp group, so they've sort of been having little competitions between themselves, seeing who can do 10k run the fastest. They've been doing bike rides, so they've all been doing a little bit because up until recently they never knew when they was going to come back. So they was all trying to stay as fit as possible. Obviously the gaffer has sent them out some programs to do as well, so I'm still in regular contact with all the players and had a few Zoom meetings with all the staff as well, so I've been in contact and it's been good to see some familiar faces.
Excellent. And obviously it's good to know they're all okay. Speaking of coaching, Stuart Howe's given us a question. He says, do you hope to get into coaching on a more... he said, it's sure, it's... Do you hope to get into coaching? I mean, you pretty much answered it, but are you looking to go into much further than being an advisory member of the Players' Union, basically?
I would love to, but at this precise moment, I think it's in my position with a young family, a mortgage to pay. It's non-league football is a very unreliable source as, I think, a manager. I think you've got to be very lucky at a club that tries to look after people like Sutton does. But for the time being, it's I'm happy doing what I'm doing, but you never know in the future.
Absolutely. Another question I think is what from Six Cells, who is Mike Nicholson, obviously. He asks, what do you miss the most about football? I'm sure it's obviously November's a while ago, but still I'm sure there's a lot you miss about playing the game.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I think I weren't a great lover of the training. I would do it because it was something that needed to be done, but the biggest thing is the dressing room, the banter with the lads, and obviously 3 o'clock. I think nothing you can do can get that 3 o'clock feeling. Absolutely. You're walking out, leading the team out and getting ready for a game. It's a feeling that I don't think you'll ever get back.
It's a sad one when you retire. I think I stopped playing at 21 because of knee ligament damage. Even still, I miss running on grass. And that's, for me, the smallest thing, the smallest difference. It really makes a difference when you stop playing. Suhail Sahi, our resident commentator here, he asks, what did you have for tea tonight?
What did I have for tea tonight? I had a hot dog.
Oh.
I had a hot dog with the kids and we watched a little bit of TV together.
Ah. I'm assuming Disney Plus is heavily used in your house.
If I'm honest, we haven't got it. My boys are 11 and 15, so they're with Netflix at the moment.
Right, fair enough.
So, but no, yeah, we had hot dogs, chips, so it was lovely.
It's a typical night in the household, eh?
Yeah, I've never been the most healthiest eater. The missus tries her best, but every now and again you've got to treat yourself.
Fair point. I would say the same, to be honest, but I'm fast. Julia Rosario has asked, Liverpool or Arsenal, what was your favourite game for either of those? Ooh, I don't know what exactly is that referring to, Julian, but what was your favourite game? I'll ask him that.
It's difficult. Obviously, I was a lot younger when we played Liverpool away. The experience of playing, obviously, a sellout crowd at Anfield was obviously amazing. And it's obviously a day I'll never forget. But the Arsenal game was just as good. I was probably more involved in the build-up to it with all the media stuff, and obviously was that little bit older to realise the magnitude of the game. It's a tough one. I don't think I can split them, if I'm honest. I think it's the two games that I never thought going into non-league that I'd probably play in, but was very, very lucky to have quite a few good games in the non-league level.
Absolutely. I think I want to pick your memory a little bit and talk about that Liverpool game. Because I'm sure when Havertz and Waterlooville were drawn out of the hat that day, it must have been one of those, once-in-a-lifetime moments where you realise where you're going to, who you're playing, and also the type of the type of occasion that you are involved in, and I wanted to briefly pick your brains on that one and speak to me about the preparation for that match, but also the overall journey there and back and the occasion as a whole.
Yeah, it was an unforgettable time, if I'm honest. It was sort of a similar run to the Arsenal game. We played a lot of teams above us. I think we played York away, we beat them 1-0. We played Notts County away when I was in the league, and when we was walking into the ground, the steward said to us, "Listen lads, just enjoy your day, you've done very well to get here." And we ended up beating them 1-0. I made sure that we see the steward on the way out and give him a little bit of stick. Then we played Swansea away, and we drew 1-0. It's probably the most one-sided game I've probably ever played. I think they hit the bar and post 15 or 20 times in the first game. I think we had one shot on target and scored and got a replay. And I think we ended up beating them 3-2 at Wesley Park, which was an unbelievable game. It was very much similar to the AFC Wimbledon away game in the Sutton run. It was a game, obviously, we weren't expected to win. We knew if we won, we would be playing Liverpool, and the reason the Liverpool game weren't on TV is because they thought we'd get beat by Swansea and picked a different game. So it was unbelievable, to be fair. And the build-up to the Liverpool game was very similar. There was a lot of media attention. To be fair to Man United, they let us train the day before at their training ground. So that was a good experience. And then the day after, Man United were playing Tottenham in the FA Cup at Old Trafford, and they give us tickets for the whole squad to go up to Old Trafford to watch it after. So all in all, it was a fantastic run, but the game itself was unbelievable. To go 1-0 up and then go 2-1 up and be 2-0 at half-time away at Anfield was something that we never thought was going to happen.
It was an incredible day. Although the result in the end didn't go in your favour, but have you had, like, since that particular occasion, obviously there's Arsenal, but since then, did you feel like any particular match that you play wouldn't polarise similar to the one you had at Anfield?
I had another good cup run when I was at Aldershot when I was in League Two. We had a good run in the Carling Cup, and fortunate for me, I'm a West Ham. People probably know we pulled West Ham away in the first round of the Carling Cup, and we played at Upton Park, which was a dream for me, and we managed to beat them 2-1. And we ended up playing Man United in the fifth round of the Carling Cup at Aldershot. Yeah, that was another unbelievable game, to be fair. So like I said, I've been very, very lucky in my career to play in so many big games, and it is hard to pick and choose, but I think just out of the love I probably had for both clubs, I was at Sutton for 5 years, I've been at Sutton for 5 years, so it's probably the Arsenal and Liverpool games that probably meant the most to me. But West Ham away will be one game that me and my family will never ever forget.
Absolutely. I can't blame you for that, because it had so many enticing moments. We'll come on to the FA Cup later on. Another thing I wanted to ask was, in terms of your time at Sutton in the league, you've mentioned obviously before the match against Boreham Wood being the one that you have the most regret for, because of the fact that one game away from Wembley, a brilliant chance to obviously bring Sutton into the Football League. But in terms of the league, you had that special day, obviously, in 2016 when you won the Conference South, and I should say National League South, and became champions. We recently showed on this show the Chelmsford game when you secured the title, and I'm sure the memorable celebrations from there. I've been picked by force by my producer James King to ask you this. What were the post-match celebrations like in the dressing room? Because they were never documented. And he wants to know what was going on in there after the outside celebration.
Yeah, it's one of them. To be fair, obviously we won the game, and we sort of already knew that we was going to win the league. So we finished the game, and there was a couple of crates of beers in there. There was like a couple of bottles of moody champagne that people were spraying about, and so forth and so forth. And then we obviously got told we had to go out and to pick the trophy up. But I think after we picked the trophy up, I think, to be honest, I think where we knew we were going to win it from such a distance, we did celebrate, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of beer drunk, as you could expect.
Yeah.
But there was just a lot of people sitting down talking to each other. We had the chairman in, we had obviously Clive, we had all the staff in taking pictures with the trophy, taking pictures together. Because these are just memories that you've got to keep. I've got about 10 shoeboxes full of stuff that I've always kept through my career, and I always look back at it every now and again. And it's just one of them things that you can't take away from us, that every time we see people we won that league with, they always have a special bond.
Yeah.
And it was just, there was celebrations, but it wasn't probably as big as people would think, because I think we knew through that season, as soon as we went on that run, that we was going to win it. And as a lot of fans probably know, and yourselves probably know, that we celebrate after every game, win, lose or draw. We will have a drink. We all try and come into the bar to see the fans. So it was no different, really.
Has there been any like standout moments from that season that stick with you? Because it must have been a very challenging time. I know you said you've won. Obviously, you said you won it by a considerable amount of points in the end. But what I refer to is, were there challenging games along the way? There must have been a lot of teams that were really grasping to knock you off the top spot at certain stages, particularly during the deep months of the season, midway through the year, where you have those games piling up on one on top of the other. Did it get any more challenging?
It was strange. We didn't have the best of starts to the season. I think 2 months into the season, we might have been 10th. And we played Bishop Stortford away. And we got sat down by Dodds and Bairdy and got told in no uncertain circumstances that if we didn't put our fingers out and start winning games, that it would be a big failure. And that's the day that we won at Bishop Stortford away, and I think we won or drew every other game thereon. So that was a memorable game. I think Maidstone away, I think we went there was a crowd of 3,000. It was a massive game. We ended up beating them, which was a fantastic result at the time. But I suppose the one that stands out is Ebbsfleet at home. I think that was the day we officially realised ourselves that we had won the league. I think, as everyone knows, they had booked a trip to Vegas because there were so many points in front.
Yeah.
Thinking they had won the league, but on that day, I think for 20 minutes, they was like Barcelona and we was like Sutton. It was that much they had that much of the ball that I thought we was in trouble.
Yeah.
But after 20 minutes, I think we dominated them. When they realised we weren't going to crumble, I think they crumbled, and obviously the rest is history. Betsy scored a penalty and Fitchett scored one at the near post, and we probably celebrated after that game more than we did after we won the league. It was that's when we really knew that we had won it, and it was an unbelievable game.
Unbelievable. And I wish I'd remembered to pick that one as game of the day. It would have been less shorter than half an hour. But I'm also curious to know, did you get a lot of stick from the Ebbsfleet lot before the game? Because obviously they were, as you said, they were very excited about Vegas, thinking, oh, it's our big moment, we can go and enjoy the Ritz and the glamour of Nevada. But instead, you guys one-upping them. Did it give them any, did it rattle them in any way once you got the victory?
To be honest, not really. I think, obviously, like I said, after that game, we knew we had won it, and I think they knew they was having to go up through the playoffs. And I think there was still a good few games to go, so not much was really said. I think over the years, I think they've been one of the teams that we've always done well against, home and away. I think we was on a bad run when we finished third in the season, and we had sort of a crunch game against them. They was in the playoffs as well, when we ended up winning there 1-0. Bolarinwa scored an unbelievable goal.
Yeah.
So I think over the seasons I've been at Sutton, we've always done very, very well against them. So I don't think they had too much to say, if I'm honest.
There was also the Guard of Honour Oxford away by James Oxford City, I believe. Was it? I feel like that's a surreal experience, isn't it, when the opposition clap you onto the field?
Yeah, it's sort of strange. If I'm honest, it was obviously you appreciate clubs doing it, and this shows a mark of respect. But it was, if I'm honest, it's a little bit embarrassing. I think obviously we know we had won the league, and like I said, they would give us the respect we probably deserved. But yeah, it was a little bit embarrassing, if I'm honest. But like I said, it's just tradition, I suppose, and a lot of clubs have done it, and we obviously didn't say no to it. But it's not something I think I would enjoy doing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I had to do that once when I think I was at 18 or 19 at like under 19s level. I had to clap opponents onto the field who were the champions. I can't say that team on here, but they just won the league, and it was the second last game of the season on a Sunday morning. I kind of regretted standing on the side of the touchline knowing we have to actually clap these guys on the field. It's not very good, but the referee told us off for not doing it. So yeah, it's not a nice feeling.
I suppose it shows a little bit of respect, but it's not for me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'd agree on my experience as well. Jamie Rizzo has a message for me to just give out to everybody. I'm sure Jamie would join in with this, but tomorrow's International Nurses Day apparently. Can you give a huge shout out to Sutton's favourite nurse, Natalie Snow, who along with all the other NHS workers are doing so much to save lives? And as always, I'm sure Jamie can vouch for this, we all appreciate the hard work that they're doing to fight the pandemic on the front lines and make sure that, you know, everyone who has, whether they have or they haven't contracted a virus or just for anything else, we recognise them for all the hard work they do. And, you know, we can't go a day, especially after whenever this comes to an end, we can't go a day without thinking of the sacrifices they made for us. So to Natalie, we as all of us here at SCC TV and at Sutton United, I'm sure are thanking you and are giving you all the love and appreciation that you deserve. And we wish you very well. Hopefully you're all right as you watch this. So back to you, Jamie. In terms of Sutton in the last couple of years, we're talking up to when you were about to retire. Was it like the sort of feeling where you started to realise it gets harder and harder against different opposition week in, week out? Because you have new teams obviously coming out of the Football League with the likes of Notts County, Chesterfield and Wrexham having been there for a few years. Playing at that level, did it get much more challenging to keep up with the pace of the game, or was it more or less the injuries that stopped you?
I think them sort of games you mentioned, they're the sort of games you get up for. I think it's not the lesser teams, should I say, but the teams you played, I think, over the years many, many times, and you've been to their ground for many, many years, they're probably the harder games to get up for. But when you get into these big stadiums and there's big crowds there, they just sort of take care of themselves. I think in terms of injuries listen, I've never been able to run. I think if I didn't have a football brain, I would probably never have been a footballer. Pace has never been one of my strongest points. But I think it come to a point where I knew football, I was never going to be able to play forever. I was 35 and, like I said, being very, very lucky in my non-league career. And a job offer come up, and I, at the time, didn't think I could turn it down. I think obviously speaking to Matt, he was asking me to stay and at least stay out the season and would let me go with his blessing at the end of the season. But unfortunately, I thought I might be able to get away with it with the job, but it started a lot sooner than I thought, which was disappointing in a way, because I would have loved to have seen the season out and finished on a high. But it's just one of them things. I think sometimes you've got to look after your family, and at that time it was the correct decision for me.
absolutely. And hopefully there's more of Jamie at Sutton. Speaking of Matt, obviously you've worked with him since November, but obviously as a coach on the team. How is he to work with in terms of being a manager? Because you played, I'm sure at some point you would have run into him on the pitch. So how is it like working with him in like a backroom role?
Yeah, it's strange. I met Matt when I was at Havant. He come and we had Dean Oldham as a striker, and Bailey was the manager actually, and he asked Dean who was the hardest centre half he played against, and he chose Matt. So we ended up signing Matt, but unfortunately he got injured in a pre-season friendly against Portsmouth, and it was a bad injury on his back. So he never played as much as we would hope, and it sort of ended up making him retire. But I also worked with him at Aldershot. He was a number 2 to Dean at Aldershot, and he was a coach there and put in a lot of good sessions. And when the opportunity come up and Bruce phoned me and asked me, do I think Matt would do a good job? I would, in no doubt at all, that I thought Matt would do an excellent job. His whole life revolves around football. He's easygoing. It hurts me to say, but he has got a little bit of banter about him. But when it comes down to his coaching and football, he's a very, very serious man, and he knows, for his age, he knows so much about football, and that's why I knew he would do well at the club.
Absolutely. And also, I'm also wondering, like, what was the first game that you came to as a coach, if I can remember? I think it would have been...
it was after Chesterfield away, which was the 6th
So this was Solihull. It wasn't Solihull.
No, I officially retired on the 6th of Jan.
Okay. Cool.
So it was whoever, after that, it would have been...
Might need to.
I can't remember. If I'm honest, I can't remember.
I'm gonna cheat. Okay, let me cheat. So I might have to do that for the sole purpose of keeping the integrity of the show alive. I will cheat and go back through the fixtures to find out when what first one would have been. I don't think. Yeah, it does feel like a long time ago, but let's have a look. So yeah, so after Chesterfield away, I was 1-0. Stockport away, it would have been it would have either been Stockport or Solihull.
It was Stockport away.
Stockport away, the 0-0. Okay, I will get that. That's the right one. So it was that one. I'm assuming. So was it any different to any normal away day? Because for me, it was just about climbing up a ladder onto a gantry with no support, and for you, it was like a cozy dressing room in the middle of near Manchester. But was it a different feeling being a coach for the first time?
I think at that time, not really, because like I said, I had a few injuries leading up to that, and I would, most mornings before training, I'd go in and see Matt and Jason and Nicky and Bob, and we'd sit down and have a chat about what we was going to do for the day. And on a Friday, we would talk about, obviously, the opponents on the Saturday and so forth and so forth. So I was sort of doing it anyway. So that sort of time, I still felt, even though I wasn't a player, I was still sitting with the players on the train and on the coach, and so I still felt much of a player. So it was not a lot of difference. It was only towards the last couple of months before, obviously, this all started, that I was sitting with Matt and Jason and Bobby and Mickey on the trains and that, and we was talking about opponents that I actually felt I wasn't going to be playing anymore and was more of a coach.
Yeah. And Mike has come up with in his in a chat with a clean sheet your first game as coach. Put it this way, I feel like your defensive nous could have helped in the result of that day. It ended 0-0, but I still think Sutton defended very well that afternoon. I'm going to attribute some of that to you, Jamie, because I think Louis and Ben that day were simply brilliant. John, and I can't miss out Ben and John either. Both of them were brilliant that day. Did you talk? Speaking on that game specifically, did you talk to them about what to do in terms of the opponents you were dealing with and how they would have to defend in that game?
I think what it is with Matt and Jason, they were both centre halves, and the whole week will be built up to your opponents on a Saturday. So we'd do shape, we'd do Pacific stuff that would combat their centre forwards or their wide players. And to be fair, come Saturday, it's literally just give them a little one or two bits of advice. And they're good players. They know how to defend. They know what's expected of them. So it's just little things that you can give them that I would give them if I was playing alongside them. And it's just them little things, really. Just make sure they're covering each other. When you're going up to head it, get your arm up and protect yourself. It's just where they're still young as centre-halves. It's just little bits of gamesmanship, should I say, that I'll probably give them more than maybe Jason and Matt are giving them a little bit more about the centre-forward they're playing against, or Jason will go through the set piece and tell them who they're marking and how tall they are and so on and so forth. Mine's more just little gamesmanship points, really, and just trying to get the lads motivated before a game. I shout them a little bit and gee them up, and Matt and Jason do more of the technical side of it, if I say.
Yeah, and again, it showed testament on that day. They played brilliantly against Stockport, albeit with the result being 0-0. It was a very good defensive performance. Your last game, Matt, on a sorry, do a lot, Jamie. Your last game as a Sutton player was against Dagenham and Redbridge on a very cold night in December in an FA Trophy replay that had gone 120 minutes. Now, if I remember well, you were brought on and put into midfield that night. Was that the first time you were forced in a position that you were alien to? Or obviously we were, on that night we were strung with injuries and all that, having been forced to play the replay. But was that the first time you'd played away from centre back in your career, or have you been drafted elsewhere before?
I don't know if people know or people don't know. Up until I come to Sutton, I was always a centre midfielder. It was only when I signed for Sutton, I think my first game we played Western-super-Mare away, and we played three at the back, and I'd played left back when I was at Newport and we won the Conference South. I played left back the whole of that season. Mm-hmm. And I played left when I was at Watford in the reserves. I played left back a little bit. So, but for 90% of my career up until I come to Sutton, I played centre midfield. So in a way, it was good for me to sort of go out in a position that I started in. But obviously, years ago, I used to be able to get about the pitch a little bit more. I was blowing, as they say. It's a lot different to playing centre half. You have to actually run around a little bit. But I've played in quite a few positions, to be fair. But like I said, my main three positions, shall I say, was centre midfield, centre half when I come to Sutton, and left back. So I have been quite versatile.
Mm. On that particular, I know the game resulted in a defeat, obviously, but did it? As you mentioned, you played in there for a while, but did it feel like you slotted back into a jigsaw piece that you had to come out of previously? I know it was challenging, of course, but it wasn't any different to before, right?
No, I think what it is your mind knows what to do, but my body at the time couldn't do it. I knew where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, but at that stage I was struggling with injuries. I don't think Matt really wanted to bring me on, but we had no one else on the bench. Yeah. And yeah, it's hard when you get to my age, and like most people know, I haven't really been an athlete in the way I eat or drink. I haven't really looked after myself, and like I said, it was the mind knew exactly what to do, but the body couldn't do it. But like I said, it was good to go out in a position that it all started in, so it's something I look back on fondly.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wish we won that game that night. I believe we were 2-1 up in the first half of extra time. Just needed to hang on for 15 more minutes, unfortunately. Too good. I think it was Juan Luque scored a lovely goal and Mitch Brundle smashed in third, so...
Yeah, it was disappointing in the end.
Yeah, it was a shame. We were very close to getting to the next round of the trophy, but it's as you mentioned, a good way to go. And I have to say, you did still play well even in those circumstances. James King's coming with a question asking me, how difficult is it to be a team captain? Do different levels of games make herding the players more difficult? I don't know.
Um, I've since a young age, I've always at most clubs I've been at. I think there's only 2 clubs I've probably been at where I haven't been captain. I think it's one of them things that you will either naturally lead, even if I haven't got the armband. I'll still shout and try and organise people and help people out. But when you do have the armband, gives you that little bit more responsibility. But at the end of the day, the players know their jobs. You can try and help them out and do this and do that. At the end of the day, it's down to the 11 players on the pitch to do their job. And luckily for, I'll say 99% of the time at Sutton, we had a very good group of players that we all got on. And I've said many, many times, in football, it's team spirit. I think especially at non-league level, if you've got a good team spirit, you've got half a chance. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing that I was quite good at, is getting all the lads together. We was most places we would go, even if we was right up against it, we always thought we was going to win because we had that togetherness, and we would never ever let each other down. And I don't think we did.
Yeah, it's not bad. Mike's come back in with a question. His question is: if you could put your current football brain into the body of an 18-year-old, would you be in the Premier League?
No, I wouldn't say Premier League, but I think I believe I could have played in the league a lot longer than I did. Nowadays, you have to be an athlete, and I think the days of slow footballers with very good football brains are gradually going out the game. I think you look at the top level now; they've got unbelievable football brains, but can also run 100 metres in 9 seconds and are built like boxers. So the game's completely changed, but there is some regret that I didn't take it more serious in the early stages. But like I said, with the career I had at non-league level, there's no way I could moan.
Yeah, I'd agree. And there's a lot, as you mentioned, those kind of calibre of player now where there's not as much pace, but that technical ability to spray balls around the field or be good from set pieces, slowly graduating out the game. I think internationally there's a couple that are ringing off the top of my head. Dani Parejo of Valencia is one. Another who's still actively playing is Andres Iniesta, believe it or not, in Japan. So those two are a couple that stand in my head. There's a few others that I could say all night, but we're not talking about the high level here. We're being modest. So. But I feel like that kind of player is going out the game as well. Speaking of which, in terms of your younger self, what were your outstanding aspirations at that time in your career? Were you looking to go big in terms of that time? Were you looking to go big or hoping for some success? I mean, most of us are dreaming of World Cups, Champions Leagues, but were you anything like that at younger ages?
Yeah, I think when you're in football, or even if you're not in football, the dream is always to be a footballer at the highest level. I think I was at Watford as a kid, and you would go and watch the first team play, and you would be in the same training ground and eat in the same canteen, and your dream was to be playing in front of 40,000 people. Yeah. But unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, and I think you see the amount of kids that are in the game. And a lot of players that were a lot better than me that still didn't make it. It's one of the hardest industries in the world to get to the level. And I know a lot of people moan about footballers earning all this money and this and that, but the sacrifices that these players make as kids and even now, I think if you can't begrudge them earning the money they do. If someone's willing to pay them that sort of money, then no one's ever going to say no. But I think people forget as a kid growing up, when all your mates are going out and drinking and going to nightclubs and all that, and you're indoors not going out, it's hard as a kid, and that's what people have got to remember.
I can agree with that. I have to take a swig of water. I can agree with that. I always wanted to win the World Cup when I was younger, trying to go big, and was like whenever you played those Wembley doubles in the playground, it always felt like you're in a World Cup final every time you're playing with your friends. It felt awful when I had to retire. It felt awful. Stuart Howe says, did you enjoy the Scottish Cup run, the Iron Brew competition that Sutton were playing in a little while ago?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was Dublin was probably one of the best football trips I've ever been on. It was to walk out the ground. I wasn't playing on the day. I was sitting on the bench with Doz and Bairdy, but to walk out and see probably 200 Sutton fans there was unbelievable. And the noise they was making, and on the day we was unlucky to go out on penalties, but I think just to be invited and to make history, to be the first or one of the two first English clubs to be invited into the competition was something I think the club should be very proud of, and something I would never forget. But even the trip up to Scotland, I think that was a good trip. We went up the night before and had a good crack, and on the day deserved to win the game. But I just think it shows, like you said, the level of the National League. We was playing teams in higher leagues than us in different countries, and we held our own, and if not, probably deserved to win both games.
I agree, and if I remember correctly, it was a close. The game against the Scottish Isles was a close one game.
Yeah, I think we won 1-0. Tommy Wright scored.
Yeah, very close. So did the end. Tommy Wright scores it all over the country. Brilliant, really.
No, yeah, he scored a good goal as well. But no, they're the sort of things that you never forget. I think, like I said, to walk out in Dublin to 200 Sutton fans is something that you probably never dream of. It was for them to pay all that money to come and watch is unbelievable.
Yeah, quite incredible. I think Ray told me the story when we were coming back from Halifax prior to the lockdown. I think the 1-0 defeat it was, and he told me the story, obviously, of when Sutton had gone to Ireland and went over to Scotland, and how unique it was to go to places that Sutton United would never barely have been heard of. And it was only when people started to hear, oh, FA Cup run, and hey, FA Cup run, and oh, they just finished high in their league, it starts to interest a few people. So, it was quite building. I think they also went to you went to Northern Ireland on a while back as well?
Not me. I've never been to Northern Ireland, no.
Ah, it's interesting. Ray maybe needs to alter his story.
Yeah, it must have been an older Sutton team. It definitely weren't in my time.
I see. Let's speak about the FA Cup now, because it seems to be the only thing that I think resonates with every Sutton fan. In terms of the run, sparking it back from round one all the way up to obviously Arsenal. What, obviously, for you, you've mentioned it before, and it will be our match of the day tonight. You've mentioned, obviously, the penalty against Leeds being the more polarising moment in your career, but outside of just one moment, the run as a whole, what outlies for you as like key moments or memories of that cup run?
It's hard to pick out one, because I think, like you said, every Sutton fan that was at the games, we scored so many late goals, and there's no better feeling scoring a late goal when you know there's probably no time for the other team to come back. It was when we pulled Forest Green in the first round. If we're all honest, we thought we was getting knocked out. They was by far the best team in the league. They was top and playing unbelievable football. And we went out there with that freedom. Is if we lose, no one can really say a lot, because they was by far the best team in the league. And lucky for us on the day, we played very well. And Deeks, the old magic man, come up with a header last minute to put us through. And it was just that one game. It was an unbelievable feeling when you're such underdogs and you come out and score a last minute winner. It was brilliant.
Yeah. That was Cheltenham. Cheltenham and Forest Green, Rory Deakin was the hero. So Rory as a player, what do you remember about him being at Sutton in terms of his character as a player? Because he obviously had such a big role in the run for Sutton. How was he as a teammate for you guys?
Yeah, he was, to be honest, in the change room, he was quite quiet. He would get involved in banter, but he wasn't one of these that would go around like me, Eastie, Bailey, and just be bantering everyone. If someone comes to him and tried to give him a little banter, he'd give you a little bit back, but he was quite quiet. But for us, he is one of them players, and there's not many about in that sort of level that you could give the ball to and something would happen. He was, at that time, I think, he was probably one of the best players in the league at beating players and making stuff happen. And lucky for us, he'd done it many, many times, not just in the FA Cup, but in the league as well, and was a massive part of us staying up that year. But obviously, he made his name in a Sutton shirt in the FA Cup, and if it weren't for him, we would have never have as we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's clear to see the relief on many a face when he put the goal in against Cheltenham, because since then it turned into pandemonium. I think he also had an offside goal against Leeds ruled out, so an injustice done against him there as well. But alas, he was a great player. In terms of the current squad, obviously now since you retired, the captaincy is shared between two in Harry Beeman and Craig Eastman. You've played with them for a number of years. Obviously, you've known them on a personal level as well. How are they as teammates and as club captains nowadays to you?
To be fair, I get on well with both of them. I used to travel in with Harry, and obviously I've known Eastie for a long time now, and we get on really well. But they lead in different ways. Eastie's his performances on the pitch make people work harder and make people improve their game because he's such a good player, and the energy he puts into the game. He's one of them that if you feel like you're not doing what he's doing, that you're letting everyone down. So just his work rate alone makes people want to work hard, and he's well respected in the dressing room because of what he's done in his career, and obviously, like I said, the player he is. And with Harry, you just got to look at this season. He scored God knows how many goals.
16 to be precise.
16 goals from midfield. He's played left wing, he's played centre midfield, he's played right wing. He's played in a number 10 position. He could play anywhere and be good at it. And like I said, I think there's probably 4 or 5 people that could have been captaining in that squad. But I think it was right that Eastie is the club captain and Harry would deputise when Eastie's not playing. And I think they're probably the two that I would have given it to, if I'm honest. And when I didn't play, Eastie would always normally be captain, so he's used to having the role.
Yeah. And
you've got to have respect. As a captain, people have got to respect you. With Eastie and Harry, they do, so they're halfway there.
That's from the current team. From players you've played with in the past, who would be the more memorable names that pop up in your head whenever someone asks you who are the ones who are players that you've enjoyed playing with? I mean, you shared a pitch with Xabi Alonso and Jamie Carragher in the past, and maybe in present time Sanchez, Walcott, and etc. But in terms of like in your career, who have you been most blessed with to play with?
God, there's loads of players. There's too many players probably to mention, but you got, like I said, you got the likes of Eastie, you got Nicky Bailey, Dean Beckwith, Simon Downer, Max Buamu. The list is endless, if I'm honest. When I was at Havant, you had Tom Jordan, Rocky Baptiste, Alfie Potter, Charlie Henry, Glenn Southam I played with at Eastleigh and Sutton, Ben Strevens. In terms of players that I've played with, there's probably too many to mention, and if I've missed any names, I apologise. But I've been very, like I've said many times already, I've been very, very lucky to play with some of the players that I've played with and to do what I've done. And it would be very, very hard to pick a select few because I've won 3 Conference Souths. I've had 2 or 3 very, very good cup runs. So it's just been unbelievable.
It's incredible. Funny you mentioned Dean Beckwith. The other, because I'm playing these old FIFAs, right? That are the old EA games because I'm bored of the current one. And the other day I was just going through League 2, And in the old Hereford side, it comes up. I think it comes up with Dean Beckwith's name in it. And I was thinking, well, really? He played for Hereford? So I was quite amazed, really.
Yeah, it was strange because I met Dean a good few years before I ever played with him. I was friends with a lad called Andy Farrell. He joined Watford from Newcastle when I was at Watford, and then he moved on to Hereford, and Dean was at Hereford at the time, and we organised a trip to go and watch England out in Germany when Wayne Rooney got sent off against Portugal.
Oh.
And Andy brought Dean along, and that was the first time I ever met Dean. And at the time he was at Hereford doing very, very well, and Mick McCarthy was watching him when he was manager at Wolves, and there was a very, very good chance he was going to get a move to Wolves.
Yep.
But unfortunately it never come off. But from talking to Dean when we was out there with not knowing him, and talking to Andy who knew him very well, it was very, very close to it coming off. But unfortunately for him it didn't, and he ended up having to come and play with me.
It wasn't a bad choice in the end, I'm sure.
I'm sure he wouldn't agree.
Yeah, you mentioned you went over to Germany to watch England versus Portugal, but did you watch the whole World Cup in Germany, or was it just that game?
I went out, if I'm honest, I went out there twice. I went out for the Portugal game, and 16 of us went out there on a minibus, and we had nowhere to stay, so we slept rough. We was some in the minibus, some just on the street, and we had sleeping bags and tents and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was an unbelievable trip. And I went out there for the first group game.
That's Paraguay,
four of us.
1-0.
Yeah, and four of us went out there, and that time we had hotels and that. But yeah, I love it. I love watching England. I went with Dean, his dad, his brother Rich, and my brother-in-law. We went out to France to watch the Euros when England were rubbish and got beat by Iceland, and we went out there. I think we was out there for 5 days and got a couple of games in then as well. So it's something we enjoy doing.
Yeah, minus the results, I'm sure.
Yeah, everything apart from the football's good.
Absolutely. France is a lovely country, and I'm sure you've soaked it all in. Something crossed my mind. Actually, funny you mentioned England. I was on the channel earlier today, and I spotted the England Steeds had played Slovakia at Gander Green Lane. That was a very unusual moment, and I was wondering, did you ever get to watch that game?
No, if I'm honest, I didn't know that it happened. I've never watched that game. No.
Yeah, it was on the channel. I think it was 2016. It must have happened. I think England lost that game. But it was pretty much a lot of the C squad, so I was wondering if you'd seen it. But yeah, it's on the channel for those who don't know. Somewhere in the doldrums hiding, it's a England versus Slovakia game at Gander Green.
Oh, was that? Did Louis John play?
I think I haven't looked, but I think he did. I think he played.
He did. I think he scored.
Ah, so yeah.
I didn't watch it, but I do know the game you're talking about now because Louis John played, and I think he. I don't know if I'm not mistaken. I think he scored 2.
He might have scored 2. I think Ray told me the same story when we were coming back from Halifax. Yeah, he told me a lot of stories, mine. Good ones, I promise.
Yeah, I'm sure he scored 2 goals.
Okay, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at that up while we do this. So our friends at the channel have put this little compilation together. I don't know if you're watching it right now, but they've put a nice little comp together of your finest moments at the club and everything. And I'm going to play that now for the viewers while I get something to eat really quickly. And yeah, it's pretty much everything good about you and Sutton United, and try not to tear up or anything like that, but here you go, Jamie's finest moments at Sutton.
Yeah, takes us back, I think it's 5 years, exactly 5 years ago, exactly. Yeah. Debut at Western Supermare, 3 down with 20 minutes to go. Charlie Clough almost pulled off a rescue act. Ian Baird saying afterwards, we were in a relegation dogfight. Did you imagine 5 years later you'd be sitting here with the club in the position it's in on that day?
We all obviously knew that Ed Fleet had booked their trip to Vegas, but in that change room I think we knew that no matter what we was going to win. And I think obviously the big game was here when we beat them. But as soon as we got on that run, we knew that we was going to be there or thereabouts. But we were about 10 games to go. I think we knew we were there.
Good delivery to Collins!
Everything you know is in your mind.
My favourite game of that was Wimbledon away. I think after we drew the first game, everyone thought that was it, we was out. But to go there and win 3-1 and...
Particularly having been one down such a...
Yeah, and the celebrations after. Obviously we all come back, there was a couple of hundred fans here, and luckily the chairman put a free bar on for us, and I think 4 or 5 of us ended up sleeping in the bar.
So from 12 yards, that penalty, what did you think?
Don't miss. I think the main thing is hit the target. I think I always try and go low and hard. 1-0! It's there! It's Jamie Collins! And Sutton United are into the lead!
It's high and long up towards Pearce. Pearce heads it back across the goal. Collins with a header. And it's got in. It's in. It's been given. It's a goal to the U's. And Jamie Collins wheels away.
Milson leaves it. Collins shoots. And it's a goal! Beauty! Come on!
Well, I'm sure everybody wishes you all the best, Jamie. Club captain, represented the club brilliantly for the last 4 years. So during the FA Cup run, the help on the media front was very, very well received, and we all wish you the best for the future and hope you come back and see us every so often.
Hopefully you enjoyed seeing those. Jamie obviously having many great moments at Sutton United. While you were off watching that, I just asked him about, memories and all that, and he rang his career. And you rated it out of 7, and he mentioned the Boreham Wood game obviously as a big regret. We don't want to put you through all that again. But as a whole, you've rated it out of 7. You're pretty content with that?
Yeah. I think it would have been higher if I would have played in the Football League a little bit more, but I couldn't have asked for any more. I think I've played for some fantastic clubs, played for some fantastic people, and with some unbelievable people that I'll never forget through my career, and got some great memories. And at the end of the day, we play sport because it's something we love, and it's brought a lot of joy to my life, and I will never forget it.
Brilliant. Before I let you go, I won't ask you the same question the others have. They've all been asking questions on who they would take on a car journey from one end of the country to the other. Now, for me, it's a football question because it makes sense. So, out of all of world football, Jamie, as if you were playing with them, who are the 5 players in your lifetime that have polarised football for you?
The 5 players in my lifetime. One would definitely be Gazza. For me, he's probably the greatest English player in my lifetime that I've seen play. And he was a maverick and done crazy stuff, but he was an unbelievable footballer. One of my other favourite players was Zinedine Zidane, even though we've never been able to play like him, but just to sit there and watch some of the stuff he does with the football is unbelievable. Who else should I say? Gerrard. Like I said, growing up, I always played centre midfield, and he was always someone I looked up to and tried to base my game on. I've got to chuck a West Ham player in there, I suppose.
It's fair, it's fair. There's a lot of demand for it.
Yeah.
Tough one, I'm guessing.
You would say Mark Noble, just because he's obviously come up through the ranks and been at the club the whole of his career, and he does support West Ham, so we chuck Mark Noble in there just because he is a West Ham legend.
Yeah.
And my last one would be... It's got to be, I suppose, Messi. It's Messi or Ronaldo, but I'd prefer to watch Messi than Ronaldo, so I'm going to chuck Messi in there just because his record speaks for itself. For me, he's probably the best player to ever play football. So
absolutely.
We'll chuck Messi in there.
I was on it, I think, was it a little while ago when Spurs played Barcelona at Wembley. And to watch him live is like watching a painter do his class work in action. Literally bossed the game and made everyone look quite ordinary. Scored twice that night, hit the post, set up the first goal, I think Coutinho scored. That night for me was pretty much like watching none of it. Ronaldo had played against Spurs the year before, and he did barely anything. So yeah, Messi for me, I agree with you. It's a great player to watch. Jamie, you've been an absolute legend, mate. I really appreciate you giving up your time in a busy schedule to come on the show, and I think everyone else here will be wishing you well in the job as you're doing right now, and hopefully keeping yourself and your family safe. But yeah, on behalf of everyone here at CFC TV, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And at some point we'll try and drag you on again for more fun, eh?
No problem. Thanks for inviting me on. It's been a good chat, bringing back some great memories, and just want to say to everyone, stay safe, and we'll hopefully see everyone down Gander Green Lane in the not near future. So hopefully we'll see everyone soon, but stay safe, and thanks very much for bringing me on.
Yeah, on a side note, with the gold jacket on, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Got to have a little bit of strike of the key, so
yeah, absolutely.
Can't beat it.
Adrian's warming up the accordion for you. So
yeah, lovely.
Take it easy. Thanks a lot, JV.
Cheers, thanks very much.
See you soon, pal.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Legend, that is Jamie Collins there for you, everyone. And yes, he is possibly going to be the first Strikers Are Key drawer when we get back to Canterbury Lane. We don't know yet. It's time, obviously, as I mentioned, for the match of the day now, which is the ever iconic FA Cup tie between Sutton United and Leeds at Canterbury Lane. A polarising day. It's a half an hour long. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it any shorter without pissing off a few copyright strikers out there. So this is off our own channel. It's very long, I know, but it is a magnificent day, a wonderful day in the history of Sutton United. Obviously led to something bigger in the next round, but it is the Jamie Collins show, so we only have to make sure that the man himself gets his moment in the limelight for you all to see once again. So, commentary cover from Sahel Sahi, Sutton United versus Leeds in the FA Cup 4th round.
Comes Paul Doswell marching towards the centre circle. He's getting the Sutton fans here comes Paul Doswell marching on to the Gander Green Lane surface. And he's doing what he did ahead of the AFC Wimbledon game, getting the Sutton United fans behind his side. final hug for Jenny the giraffe. A journey that started in October has led to a reunion dating back 47 years. Sutton welcomed Leeds United to Gander Green Lane at exactly the same stage of the FA Cup as they did in 1970. There's a different atmosphere this time. Leeds United were the English champions and into the last stage of the European Cup back then. Now they're fourth in the Championship, and with Sutton having fought back 3 times to winning their cup run and knocking out higher league opposition twice, they sense a date with history and progression into the 5th round. Dean Beckwith misses out due to a hamstring injury picked up in the FA Trophy win over Worthing. Adam May, who scored the winning goal and impressed with his man of the match performance on Tuesday, forces his way into the starting lineup. Leeds hand debuts to Paul Mackay and Billy Whitehouse as Gary Monk once again shuffles his pack to rest key players for their Championship campaign. Leeds United will get us underway, and they're attacking the Gander Green Lane end in the first half. The FA Cup 4th round tie is underway, and what will the next 90 minutes produce for Sutton United? Their 6th game in this FA Cup adventure this season. They've knocked out sides from the National League South, League 2, League 1, and now it's Leeds United from the Championship this afternoon. Go miss with an early surge forward. Blocked away. Grimes is fouled by Eastman. I think Stuart Atwell is well known for the ghost goal at Watford Vicarage Road. Downer beats Dakara. Well intercepted by Downer. Phillips won the header. Go miss to Spence. Spence under pressure from Whitehouse. Lifts it forward. Biamu's onside. Leaves it for Deacon. Oh yes! The Magic Man has done it once again! Oh, he's offside! The assistant referee has put his flag up, and Rory Deacon is offside. A tremendous finish. And the goal's been ruled out. Sutton 0, Leeds 0. Bailey sends it forward. Collins wins the first header. Biamu's lurking, but Leeds clear the ball. Spence finds safety by going backwards to Warner, and Denton with a cushion header back to his goalkeeper. 10 minutes played. Collins quite high up. The wind took the ball away from Gomez. Eastman forward to Deacon. Deacon with a shot! That was a tremendous effort from Rory Deacon, full of confidence. And for the Championship side. Phillips back to Cooper, comes in field. Downer quickly on Antonsen, good defending by Simon Downer. Gomez closes down Cooper. Gomez goes down, free kick to Sutton. And Stuart Atwell shows the first yellow card of the afternoon, and it's the Leeds captain, Liam Cooper. Every single Sutton outfield player ahead of the ball except Dan Spence. Deacon flights it in towards the far post, Downer gets there, leaves it for Collins. Bailey is headed away, only as far as Gomez, takes a deflection, corner kick to Sutton. Leeds have not troubled Ross Warner at the present time, midway through the first half. One shot on target has come from Sutton and Rory Deacon. Dukara. Coyle. Well challenged by Bailey. Dukara goes back to Mackay. Leeds United have won the FA Cup once in their history, in 1972, beating Arsenal by a goal to nil. Alan Clark, the goal scorer that day at Wembley. They got knocked out in the 5th round last year to Watford, away at Vicarage Road, losing that day 1-0. Warner comes out, he clears. Collins taking his time, onto Spence, and Gomez controls it well, back to goal, now to Deacon. Spence makes a run, the outside of him, good first time cross, high towards the far post, and Manquan put in there Sylvestre under pressure. Sylvestre dropped it, but grabbed it at the second attempt. Paul Doswell comes out of his dugout to give offer some instructions to his players. Coped well so far against their higher league opposition. Deacon, the Manquan making a run down the right hand side, 2 in the penalty area. Good adventurous play though by Kevin Manquan, still making those overlapping runs. The weather's just calmed down a touch. The wind's still picking up, but the rain's disappeared as Deacon comes down the right hand side. Deacon gets blocked, falls to Gomez! Good save! He didn't know much about it, the Leeds United goalkeeper, but the ball was saved by his backside more than anything else. But a good driving run from Rory Deacon. Not to be in the lead. They've got some defending to do though. Dallas picks it up. Good save by Warner. Very alert goalkeeping. Sutton's first danger on their goal. Downer is on Antonson. Mackay is at the near post. Goes high towards the far post where Cooper wins the first header. Warner collects over the top of Marcus Antonson. Clears long to Deacon. Lovely touch, plucked it out of the sky. Skips past Denton. Ball's gone out of play though. Oh, that was a foul by Denton, and that's a free kick. I think initially, did the ball go out of play, but the referee is going to book the young Leeds United left back, Tyler Denton. So 2 of the back 4 for Leeds have been shown yellow cards in this first half. Coyle fires in a cross. Dallas keeps the ball from going out of play. Dukara back to Denton. This is nice by Leeds. Dallas with a shot, takes a deflection. And it's a corner kick to Leeds. That was much better from the Championship team, Leeds United. This is Sutton's 6th game in the competition this season, and they've knocked out high league opposition twice on their run. As the floodlights start coming on here at Gander Green Lane, Denton controls the ball well. It's a free kick to Leeds, right on the edge of the penalty area. And the referee has showed Rory Deacon a yellow card. And a free kick in a dangerous area of the pitch for Sutton to defend. Cooper drifting away towards the far post. Dukara and Antonsen in the penalty area. It's driven in towards the near post. Warner grab. Dukara heads it on, then pushes May out the way. Antonsen keeps the ball from going out of play. Nice trickery from Whitehouse. Biamu picks up the loose ball onto Deacon. Another tremendous save from Sylvester, denying Rory Deacon once again. Eastman! His effort flashes wide. And it's a competition at the moment between Rory Deacon and Marco Sylvester. Biamu flicks it on. And that's the last piece of action in this first half. Sutton going to the break with their tails up. They've dominated this first 45 minutes in chances created. Rory Deacon being denied twice by the Leeds United goalkeeper, and then Vicente Gomez, his effort was also saved by Marco Sylvester. He didn't know much about that effort, but he did about both of Rory Deacon's. Two very good saves by the Leeds United goalkeeper. Half-time then in the FA Cup fourth round here at Gander Green Lane. Sutton United 0, Leeds United 0. Sutton are attacking from left to right in the second half. And the ball runs out of play for an early throw-in to the visitors, Leeds. No changes from Paul Doswell and Gary Monk at the start of this second half. Spence clears it away, and it's just whacked out of play by Louis Coyle, and it's a throw in to Sutton while the Leeds United fans just amuse themselves. Paul Doswell on the edge of his technical area. Offering some instructions as Dallas comes forward. Antonsen got in the way of Dukara. That ball was heading towards Dukara. Bailey clears. Biamu's there. Biamu's fouled in the side of the penalty box. And Deacon! That's a penalty! Penalties to Sutton. First Biamu was brought down, and then Deacon. And Deacon's has resulted in a penalty. Biamu's still down. Should be okay. And an opportunity for Sutton to go into the lead. Jamie Collins, the captain, will take the responsibility. The referee has not brandished any kind of card to any Leeds United player. He's taking the responsibility. 7 minutes played in the second half. Is this his time? Is this Sutton's time? Collins against Sylvester. 1-0! It's there! It's Jamie Collins! And Sutton United are into the lead! There's a mascot even joining in the celebrations! It's Jamie Collins, Captain Fantastic! Sutton United 1, Leeds United 0. Denton on to Dallas. Leeds' pride will have been hurt. Warner clears. Biamu's shirt is getting tugged. Deacon picks up the loose ball. Flights it forward. Well intercepted by Coyle. Gary Monk is about to make a change for Leeds United. Looks like it's Hady Sacco who will enter the fray. May's gone down, holding his right knee, but Leeds surge forward. Downer defends brilliantly, and it's a goal kick. Played an hour now here at Gander Green Lane in this FA Cup 4th round tie. And Sutton of the National League leading Leeds of the Championship by a goal to nil. 84 places separating these two sides ahead of kick-off. And Sutton more than matching the higher league opposition. Amankwa into go miss. Onto Eastman. Drives forward. Biamu's made a run for him. Deacon joining the attack. Eastman going alone. Tried to do a bit too much at the end. Picked up by Bailey. Tries an effort from all of 40 yards. Always going high and wide. Onto Dakara, one intercepted by Downer. And now Deacon. Only Biamu in front of him. So has to go back to Amankwa. Deacon does well and he's fouled by Calvin Phillips. Free kick to Sutton. Bailey flights it in towards the far post. Dropped by the goalkeeper. Very, very, very fortunate at the second attempt. Made a hash of the initial ball, flighted into the penalty area. Sutton have done really well since they took the lead. There was a back pass that was short for the goalkeeper. Adam May was putting Marco Silvestre under, picked up by Ruth. First real run, first real touch of the ball. Did well to keep possession of it under pressure from 3 Sutton players. Over the head of Wilkes. Collins doesn't miss his header, clears. Deacon gets pushed in the back, referee doesn't agree. Grimes sends it forward to Wilkes. His first touch let him down. Eastman clears towards Biamu. Keeps the ball from going out of play. Squares up Mackay. Goes on the outside of him. Sacco comes back to defend, but concedes a corner kick. 15 minutes to play. Sutton United 1, Leeds United 0. The goal scorer Jamie Collins from the penalty spot after 53 minutes. Rory Deacon was brought down in the area, latching onto a loose ball after Biamu raced through, and Silvestre got in the way of Biamu. Deacon was brought down, referee pointed to the spot. Can they make something from this corner kick? Can they double their lead? Good delivery. Amankwa wins the first header. May blocks the clearance from Wilkes. Bailey sends it forward, flicked on by Eastman. Ruth made a meal of that. Nicky Bailey. Just to be shown a yellow card. Will be whipped in left-footed by Matt Grimes. He's got a good delivery. On loan from Swansea for the season. 2-man Sutton Wall. They lead Leeds by a goal to nil. Lowe doesn't beat Deacon. Blocked away and cleared away. Sacco comes in field. Grimes has plenty of space. Looks for an effort, very ambitious. It's comfortable for Ross Warner. No sign of any changes from the management team of Sutton, Paul Doswell, Ian Baird, both prowling their technical area. Eastman comes forward, brought down by Cooper. That will be the second yellow card for the captain of Leeds United. That means a red, and that means Leeds United are down to 10 men. They trail Sutton by a goal to nil. We've got 9 minutes to play, and the championship side find themselves down to 10 men. Their captain has been sent off. And they've got to defend this free kick. Another twist in the adventure of this FA Cup run for Sutton this season. Adam May over this free kick, one-man wall, flights it towards the far post, Collins! Still underneath the crossbar, don't miss! The assistant referee put his flag up, it was offside. Leeds getting pushed back. Only 5 minutes to play. Sutton 1, Leeds 0. Leeds down to 10 men. Their captain Liam Cooper shown a yellow card in the first half, then a second yellow in the second half, which means a red. And they'll play this remaining 5 minutes, Sutton against 10-man Leeds United. Some activity on the Sutton bench. Looks like Baba Traore is about to join the action. Lee Mason, the fourth official, is about to show us how many minutes of time to be added on at the end of this game. Only Leeds have made the 3 changes. There's not really been any stoppages apart from the 3 changes. Antonsen with an effort. And here comes Lee Mason, the fourth official. 4 minutes of time added on. Where did he get those 4 minutes? There's only been 3 substitutions. We're into the final 10 seconds of time to be added on at the end of this game. But I've got a feeling we'll play another minute, a minute and a half at least. There's been quite a few stoppages in this time added on. Jamie Collins, who scored from the penalty spot after 53 minutes, sends the free kick forward. It's cleared away. It's a throw into Sutton, which they'll take their time over. Max Biamu raising his arms towards the sky. And there's an almighty roar around Gander Green Lane. They can sense it. Biamu bustled off the ball this time. We played the 4 minutes. We played an extra 35 seconds. Collins wins the header. Wilkes. Bailey gets in the way. Throw into Sutton. We played 5 minutes of time to be added on at the end of this game. It's Sutton who lead Leeds United by a goal to nil. Flicked on by Traore. The referee being urged to blow his whistle by the Gander Green Lane faithful. All eyes on Stuart Atwell. Well defended by Deacon. seconds above the 4 minutes that was supposed to be added on at the end of this game. And that's it! The full-time whistle has been blown. Sutton United are through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. They've beaten Leeds United of the Championship. The all-important goal coming up to 53 minutes. Jamie Collins, the captain, fantastic from the penalty spot. And just look at those scenes around Gander Green Lane. We've never seen anything like this in 118 years of this football club. The lowest ranked side left in the FA Cup are through to the last 16. Absolutely magical. Scenes of jubilation, scenes of celebration, and above all, the FA Cup giant killing lives on, and it's Sutton United who've made history once again. The players have been mocked by the fans. The heroes celebrating with the Sutton United supporters. And this Sutton team have made history by reaching the 5th round of the FA Cup for the first time in the club's 118 years existence. And remarkably, Sutton will still be in the FA Cup come February. That is simply astonishing. And sometimes, just sometimes, dreams do come true. It's full time at Gander Green Lane, and it's ended Sutton United 1, Leeds United 0.
4. Number 4 is Sutton United. The lowest ranked side left in the FA Cup have got themselves a home draw. The question is, who do they play? No pressure, Robbie. The biggest moment in Sutton's history is in your hands.
Number 6.
Sutton United will play Arsenal in the next round of the FA Cup. Well done, Robbie. The 12 times winners are travelling to Sutton. A short hop across London, but a huge, huge draw that for Sutton. Congratulations to everybody down there. Sutton against Arsenal. Wow.
Those were some memories, weren't they? You also saw the official moment when Sutton were drawn against Arsenal, but quite a tie and quite a memory to relive, seeing all those lovely scenes of the fans on the pitch at the end of the game. Don't condone it, but it's a celebration at the end of the day. What an afternoon. And Sutton United through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, and a great day that it would be playing Arsenal. Alas, Jamie Collins scored the penalty. He was the man of the show tonight, and paying astute tribute to him, giving you his glorious moment in the limelight one more time. That'll do from me. Hopefully you've enjoyed being a part of this show. I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I'll have to watch England v Switzerland on demand now because I didn't get to see the whole game. But I hope to see you soon. Our next show, I think, will be tomorrow. It's a women's show, so that'll be Connor Reid who'll be responsible for that. And then obviously keep a close eye on our socials for more news on who will be on our shows next. I don't know when I'll see you next, but one thing is for certain, I hope you all stay safe, take care of yourselves. Obviously there's new guidelines now, so you can go outside and do everything. My suggestion is look after yourselves whatever you are doing, and hopefully you also stay safe, wash your hands and keep yourself, I hate saying that, socially distanced as all times. Until the next time, pleasure bringing the show to you. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.